Easy, guys. If all of you could just let me know that you can hear me properly, you can hear the mic and all the music, and we're going to get started very shortly. Okay, I think I'm going to get started. So, welcome along to the weekly live feedback session. I'm going to be running this due to people wanting to get some tips from myself, and I thought it'd be good to share it with all of you guys as well, just to kind of see an insight into what we offer at the studio. So today we're launching our new online tuition, which is here, and we're really excited about this project because every month we're going to be uploading 3 videos with really highly skilled, technical knowledge, and there'll also be an artist, special guest artist video alongside with it as well. That you get for all of this you get for £10 a month on a subscription basis, and while you're subscribed, you'll always have full access to all the videos, and I can tell you they're really great videos, and we've put a lot of time and effort into these. And going forward, we've got some really exciting videos to show you guys from projects that are going to be released on some pretty big labels. So definitely check this out. Okay, we've been sent through some tunes by some of our followers, and I think we're going to go for Man Like Because first. Keep it on the house tip. I'm liking the synthetic percussions you got. Sound very textured and very nice, a bit different. Sounds like something like a Omnisphere. I'm guessing you use to get that kind of those textured percussions. I know they've got lots of really good sounds on there. If anyone doesn't know about the plugin Omnisphere, definitely check it out. The kick's sitting quite nice, I like it. The one thing that definitely sticks out for me is the low end. I think the low end could definitely do with a bit more. Try and get those sub-harmonics out, especially in that kind of almost like a bass shot tom that you got after the kick. That really could drive through a bit more. Yeah, definitely. It's a really nice sound, but it just needs a bit more deep low end to it. I mean, if I was going to be picky, maybe get some reverbs in there in this, maybe a few more delays. Oh wow. I like that at the end. I thought my computer was skitting out for a second, but I like that. It's nice. It's kind of that minimal. It's got that minimal edge to it. I can see why Rich Next liked this one. Now you see that percussion, that dun dun dun, yeah? Maybe try to do something a little bit more with that. Make it kind of pan around a bit more. Maybe add some flanges or something. Or maybe even a pitch that goes dun dun dun. Yeah, excuse my terminologies, you know. But I like to make sure I'm quite clear of how I'm explaining things. But I think it would just add, because it's quite repetitive. It's a very repetitive sound, and it's an 8-minute track. Bloody hell, mate. Yeah, an 8-minute track. Definitely needs some variation in there. I really like that distorted thing before it drops. It's nice and original. Good atmospheres in the background, nice dark dingy sounds. Out to Joe in the chat room saying this is sick on YouTube. Yeah, so I think final thoughts on this track, I'd say try and get some more low end, especially out of those kind of bass sounds like the toms and things like that. The percussion, the sort of melodic percussion, maybe do some automation with some pitch, maybe some automation with some flanges, some delays, some reverbs. You know, try and really keep that listener really intrigued to what's going to happen with those sounds, because that's the key. You want to catch the listener off guard, and you want to keep them guessing, because you don't want someone to listen to the track and think, yeah, that's going to do that, that's going to do that. You want them to think, I wasn't expecting that. Cool. That's the trick. Okay, good. Yeah, really like that, mate. Good job. So this is Lovell DNB. And by the way, if you've got any music you want to send in to me while we're still live, I might have time to squeeze in one or two more. The email is hadleydnb@gmail.com. Excuse my meal prep coming up in the notifications. Yeah, cool, like the vibe. I'd say your hats are kind of they're kind of sat back a little bit, and they need a bit more enhancement. I'd say get some transient shaping on those hats, and maybe some saturation to bring them out some more. Yeah, cool little switch up. Never been a fan of the screechy sounds, but it's all good. Maybe with that mid-range, try and do something a bit more clever with it as well. Get some LFOs in there, definitely, and try and get some sort of different movement. But other than that, man, kind of cool. Yeah, definitely. A little bit of work here and there, and definitely could be something that would sound really good in the club. So out to Lovell on that one. Good work, mate. Good work. Good to see you progressing, man. And from one Lovell to another Lovell, Josh Lovell. I don't think these two are related. Out to Sprato in the chat. How you doing, mate?
Check this out.
Says it reminds... Jolie saying it reminds him of being in Berlin. Oh yeah, what happened in Berlin? Right, straight off the bat, the bass sounds quite flabby. Sounds very wide and not enough mono in that bass, which is going to cause you massive issues on the system. Massive issues. Yeah, I'm hearing that bass wobbling all around. So make sure you get your sub basses should always be in mono, and then the trick is, you try and get some mid ranges by splitting the frequencies and pushing it with different saturators and different stereo kind of tricks. But yeah, it definitely sounds really wide and flabby. Drums sound kind of cool. I'd say they just need some transient shaping. Because I've mentioned transient shaping a couple of times now, and this is just a feedback session, but just to kind of give you guys an idea of what I mean by transient shaping. This is a project I literally did yesterday with a guy that came in and did a one-to-one session with me. So it's not one of my masterpieces. It's literally an hour's work of me teaching him some stuff. Yeah, so the transients, you can use various plugins. Isotope Alloy 2 is an amazing transient shaper. You can either do it with just one band or in multi-band, so you can actually control the transients of just the low end, just the mids, or just the tops, and that gives you full control of the sound. It's wicked. Or if you want to go for your typical standard transient shaper, this guy's Kilohertz. I've just become a beta tester for these guys, and they've got some amazing plugins, and you can do the same with them. You can hear what it's doing. It's shaping the drums, so you've got more attack, and you can increase or bring down the sustain, bring down the attack. So you got a tool to shape the drums to make them more snappy, longer, more or shorter. So that's what I mean by transient shaping, and that is a really, really good tool to use when you are shaping your drums. Really, really good tool.
Check this out.
Yeah, so Josh, definitely a bit of advice to give you, man. That bass sounds really wide and flabby, and there is some really simple ways you can address that in Ableton. And there's obviously you've got the high end stuff, which would be plugins like the Imager, where you can actually you can visually see what's in mono and what's not. With this sound, because I've obviously used the sound in a correct way, there's not any issues in the low end. But if there was, you just drop that down to make it mono. Maybe to give you a good representation of that is put it on a different sound, one that I know has got some stereo. So obviously here you can see the stereo in all the bands. Now if I solo this low end band, yeah, you can see all that stereo. You just bring that down and boom, it's in mono. So that's a good tip. If you don't have the Isotope plugin, you can use the utility, which is free with Ableton, and it's actually got a bass mono, and you can select below what frequency do you want the bass to be, the sound to be monoed, and usually between 100 and 120 hertz is good. I mean, it's all dependent on the sound and the tune, but that is kind of usually the way. So let's have another listen to your tune. See what else we can pick out. I really like those sort of trippy vocal sounds. I'm really into that. Yeah, maybe sidechaining as well. I don't know if you know a plugin that Ableton's got. The Max for Live. A lot of people go for the compressor to do sidechaining. Now, the issue with that is you start introducing some clicking, and it's not very precise. This Max for Live plugin called Chain Shaper, you get absolutely 0 clicks, and it's so super tight and clean, and it really, really is good. And you can see it working there. You know, you can make it really, really short. But yeah, and it's super simple to use. You just choose where you want it to be triggered from, kick, boom, done. So that's another top tip there. Chain Shaper. Okay, cool. I think we've heard enough of that one. Sounded good. Submotion. Not heard anything from you for a while. What have we got? Had to Joe, some very strange stuff, yeah. But strange is good sometimes. Out to Chris, check out Dirty Box Robotics if you got time. Send that over, mate. By the way, we are live on YouTube as well, so if you're wondering who's talking, then now you know. Sounds kind of cool, mate. I like it. One thing I would say is, and I think a lot of people are kind of struggling with this a bit, and it's kind of the low ends. Let me load something up. A lot of people seem to struggle with low ends from what I'm hearing, and that is something that definitely can be helped. If I just show you, yeah, low end is so super important, but there is something that will just make you think, oh, that's why. Because sometimes when you go to the mastering stage, turning down the subharmonics and then bringing the limiting up can actually make your sub louder. Right? Confusing, right? But it definitely works. Oh, my button's not working now. But yeah, that's it's definitely a trick that that I've been shown and works really, really well. And there's some EQs as well. God's sake, it's not loading now. Let me see if this one works. Yeah, and there's some really good musical EQs that you can use to bring out the subharmonics more. Hopefully this is the right project. Oh, well, that's just brilliant. Ah, that might be why. Didn't have the right project open. Yeah, there's some really cool plugins that can help with the low ends. I think on the new Ozone 9, is it? I have got it, but I haven't because I'm working on a lot of current projects at the moment, and I'm still using Ozone 8, but I believe Ozone 9 has got a subharmonics tool, which sounds really cool. So I'm going to be testing that out real soon. Nah, this is an old project. Okay, it's going to be very, very difficult to explain without showing you, but the track has got some mad low end on it, and yeah, I mean, you can really hear that coming through. And I guess, you know, some of it comes down to the mastering as well, but if you really give the mastering engineer a really good mix down, you'll get a much, much better result. You really will. This is actually, we actually mastered this one ourselves. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do, because I'm going to have to end this live stream very shortly, but basically for next week I am going to just go over a little bit of low end techniques, because that is kind of the sort of things that it was more of a constant thing that I could hear from all the different tracks that definitely needed a bit of love. So. Oh, Sprato sent over a tune. Oh, have we got time? We've got time for one more. Right, this is Sprato. Just sent one over to fix feedback. Loving the kind of vibey atmospheres. I think the kick and the snare could come out a little bit more, maybe some transient shaping. Nice switch up. Yeah, I'm digging this, man. I think with a really good mix down and a couple of little additions to the bass. Yeah, I think there's a really good EQ called the MAG EQ, M-A-A-G-E-Q by Plugin Alliance. That really helps me get that, get the lower, it helps me boost my mid-range basses. But yeah, really good work there, man. That's really, really good. So that's it. That's all I've got time for. I've reviewed 5 tracks now, and as I said, next week I'm going to be doing this again, and I'm going to be covering a bit of low-end techniques, because that's kind of the overall theme that I think people were struggling with a little bit. And just before I go, I just want to mention we've just launched our online tuition. If you head over to the Studio 808 website and go to our courses online, you can watch our videos, and these are really, really highly in depth. We put a lot of time into these, and we're going to be uploading 3 videos a month, 1 house, 1 drum and bass, and 1 with a special guest artist from all types of different genres. And they're going to be really, really, very useful for you, especially at a time like this. And if you're ever stuck for ideas, for a tenner a month, I mean, give it 6 months, we're going to have this online tuition thing really popping off with lots of guest artists and bags of material, with a lot of music that we're going to be on, that will be on show, that will be released on some big labels as well. So definitely check that out. Alright guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I'm sorry I had to keep it short, but we've got lots to do with this with this online tuition now, and I think we're going to keep it just to feedback sessions instead of full production sessions, because we want to get you guys on these because you really, really will make use of these. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll